Greetings. This is Evangelist George McTyre of the Word of God Ministry, and I am here today to explain this clip to you. If you will look at the title, you see that I'm asking the question: Is President Obama a Manchurian candidate? And I want to explain the reason why I put this question forth. First, let me tell you this. As far as I'm concerned, President Obama is a nice guy. He's pleasurable. Uh, he appears to be friendly. He appears to be somebody that has the best interests, if you will, of this nation at heart. He has not been, as a lot of blacks would tend to wish that he was, and as what he was being accused of being before he got elected, some angry black man that now that he's president is going to essentially uh, take his vengeance out on white folks and begin to uh, elevate the black community over whites. He's given all of the appearances, if you will, of being fair-minded to blacks and whites. Now, the only problem that I would see with him, looking at him, at face value, not making any judgments about his decisions and so forth. That's not exactly where I'm going to go with this. I have a lot of questions about his decision making and so forth, but we'll get into that as I get along in this clip here. So, in other words, President Obama's a nice guy, and naturally, he's got a nice family, Michelle and his two daughters, and so forth. And everything, seems to be on the up and up. So, why or what do I mean by is President Obama a Manchurian candidate? And exactly what is a Manchurian candidate? Well, last year I rented a movie that one of the stars in the movie was Denzel Washington. And the name of the movie was The Manchurian Candidate. Now, this movie is a remake of an earlier movie by the same name back in, I think the movie came out in the 60s or something like that, the first movie. But in this movie, I don't remember whether I ever watched the first movie, but because Denzel Washington was in this particular movie, I rented it because I like Denzel Washington's actions, his acting abilities and so forth like that. Anyway, let me describe to you the gist of what the Manchurian Candidate is about. It is about the son of a woman that belongs to a secret society, so to speak, in the higher ups of governments. And well, actually, I don't think she's actually in government. Was actually in government. I don't remember that part being exactly that, but we've heard a lot of conspiracy theorists talking about the Illuminati and all these other things. These secret societies that are not uh, necessarily all affiliated in the government, but they have some sort of kind of secret alliance with politicians that help to carry out some of the things that they want done, and these politicians operate independently of their political parties. Well, anyway, as the story goes, uh, this woman's son, along with members of his army combat team, because he was in the army serving in a war, and somehow or other, the son and his combat unit have somehow or other been brainwashed and programmed to believe that he is a hero for saving the lives of his team in combat, and is therefore uh, awarded the Medal of Honor. Okay? Now, when he gets out of the military, he gets elected to a political office. I don't know, I don't remember exactly whether it was the U.S. Senate or the U.S. Congress, but anyway, he gets elected to uh, this political office, and is then urged by his mother and her her fellow conspirators, if you will. He's urged to run for president, and they are sure, and they're going to make sure that he will be a shoe-in because of his number one military record, plus the fact that this group at the same time, anybody that's running against him is either going to be blackmailed or something, or bribed or something, to not really put up a big uh, opposition to him running, or else they're going to be blackmailed or killed or something. Everything is set up for her son to get elected to the office of president. Now, why are they going through all of this? Well, you see, their plan is to get him elected, and then they are going to run the country through him, seeing that he is still programmed to do what they want him to do. Well, as the story goes on, Denzel Washington plays one of the men that was in his combat unit that testified that this woman's son indeed performed these heroic acts and so forth. But as time goes on, something happened, and Denzel Washington began to, I guess, either realize something wasn't quite right, and he began to uh, start going around asking questions of people. Other men in the combat unit asked him, did they remember this? They remember that? And some of them uh, say, well, yeah, this is the way it really did happen. But then others began to question that themselves, as they began to wonder why they were having strange dreams and things didn't seem right. Anyway, all of this stuff was going on, and Denzel Washington finally went to this woman's son and began to ask him, was he having dreams and things like that? And the son began to, at first he didn't respond because he was still under, uh, you know, his mind was still clouded over with what he had been programmed with. But as time goes on, he begins to realize what was going on and began to question his mother and the other people that were urging him to run for president. And the end result is he realized that he was being used by his mother and this group of people to get him to get to be president so that they can run the country through him. And he set up a situation where uh, he himself was to be assassinated. And at the time that they, before he actually got a chance to run for president, he was going to be killed. And it just so happens at the time, when he won the nomination to actually be his party's uh, representative in running for president, and while him and his mother were dancing, a person shot and killed him. He knew he was going to be killed because he set it up to be that way, and the bullet killed not only him, but since he was dancing with his mother, the bullet went through him and killed her as well. Well, that's the gist of the movie. Now, that brings to the forefront of what I'm saying about President Obama. Is President Obama an individual that I don't think he's been brainwashed per se, or I don't know whether he's been programmed or not? But the question has to be asked, is President Obama doing the things that he is doing because that is what he actually wants to do? And is he doing it under his own conscience, or is he somehow or other been brainwashed, or is he being controlled some sort of way by a certain group of people that are, like in the Manchurian candidate, part of a secret society, or part of government officials? Because some of the people in this secret society in the Manchurian candidate were other senators and congressmen of this particular party and so forth. And I strongly believe that President Obama is doing what he is doing not because he himself is calling the shots, but somebody is calling the shots behind the scenes, and they have him dancing to the beat of their drum. Now, why would I say that? Well, if we will go back to the 2008 campaigns when President Obama and Hillary Clinton were running for the Democratic nomination for president in 2000, for 2000, in 2008. And everybody was essentially saying that Hillary Clinton would be a shoe-in for the office of president. However, black folks, I don't know, for one thing, I don't know what exact, black folks urged Barack Obama, the first black U.S. senator since the first black uh, male U.S. senator. I think we already had one. Carol Mosley Braun was the first female black Democratic senator. But when President Obama became the first black male uh, U.S. senator, blacks felt that he should run for president so they could finally break the supposed to be glass ceiling that kept black uh, blacks from being president. In other words, they had a first black president. Well, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama went into a lot of debates, and Hillary Clinton, from the offset, said that she did not think that Barack Obama had enough experience to be president of the United States because he really hadn't too long gotten elected to the U.S. Senate from being what he was prior to that, a neighborhood organizer. This man had no experience in government whatsoever. He was a what was called basically a neighborhood organizer, going around organizing groups and neighborhoods and things to for whatever reasons in Chicago. Uh, what all the activities was he was involved in, getting people out to vote and things like that. Organizing. No experience whatsoever in running government, and he gets elected to the U.S. Senate as the first black male U.S. senator in the Democratic Party. Uh, we had a black U.S. senator in the Republican Party back in the '60s. He's the man. I can't remember what his name is right off, and it's not that important necessarily. But he's the man that Barbara Walters, if you know her, the woman on The View, had an affair with him back sometime back. She admitted to it, so it's not like I'm spreading gossip about her. But anyway, he was the last black U.S. senator, male senator. There hadn't been any other women senators, but the first black U.S. senator uh, in the U.S. Senate since Reconstruction. But anyway, the thing is this. So here we got a man that has never uh, held government office. But anyway, he gets elected to the U.S. Senate. Fine. Uh, that's nothing new, especially as far as Democrats are concerned, because if we look at it, we have what is his name now? The so wait a minute. Let me make sure I get his name right. Yeah, his name is Al Franken. Another person that hadn't had any government experience or running experience in government. The only thing he was is some sort of, I don't know what, I can't remember whether he was a comedian, was a comedian, or somebody that just a critic of politics and of the Republican Party and so forth. But anyway, uh, the Democratic Party has this propensity to attract people into office that have absolutely no experience in running government and so forth. So anyway, President Obama gets in office as a U.S. senator, and naturally, by him being a junior senator, somebody's got to show him the ropes. Well, guess who started showing him the ropes? Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Harry Reid, Dick Durbin, all of those U.S. senators, and naturally former President Clinton start showing him the ropes of, how the party does what it does and so forth. So he's under the tutelage of these people. Now, as the campaigns go on, it becomes quite evident that even though Hillary Clinton would be the better of the two to be running for president, because naturally Barack Obama is a junior senator and he does not have the experience, black folks begin to get behind getting Barack Obama to get the nomination. And they threatened that if Barack Obama doesn't get the nomination, naturally there's only so much that they could do anyway, but by their sheer numbers, they turned the elections around in a lot of areas, and it became quite evident midway through the elections, through the campaign seasons and through the debates and so forth. Hillary Clinton is still talking about Barack Obama is not qualified, but yet and still, black folks say they want a black uh, president. It's about time for a black president. So anyway, Hillary Clinton is uh, facing the fact that uh, some of these caucuses and things like that, she started losing in certain areas and so forth, and so she realized that uh, the only way she could possibly win, because in certain areas like that, Barack Obama was having leads, and in uh, whatever the terminologies are for, you got to get so many uh, people to go when you go into the convention. They add their numbers up, and whoever has a certain amount of numbers, that's the one that's going to be nominated. Yeah, that term is delegates. Well, her and Bill Clinton and everybody were talking about the fact, well, we could wait and go to the convention, and then we can pull this what's name maneuver and do this, that, and other. And black folks began to talk about the fact, well, if you do that and try to take the nomination away from Barack Obama, then we aren't going to come out and vote for you in November. Well, the Democratic Party knows that if that happens, then chances are they are not going to win the office of president. So Hillary Clinton kind of concedes. Now, mind you, the whole thing was geared on her running for president, but at the same time, the Democratic Party was realizing that the move of the country, especially in the black community, was get a black person in office as president. So the Democrats began to get behind President Obama. Now, when you consider the fact that the party itself knew that President Obama did not have the experience to govern. He hadn't been in office as a U.S. Senator that long, and he was still what you would call in on the job training as being a senator. Now, all of a sudden, he's going to take on the role of president. Well, you see where I'm going with this? They backed off from saying that he was not qualified and started talking about he was qualified. He was qualified better so than John McCain, which was going to be the Republican nominee for president. Well, why did the Democratic Party make this switch all of a sudden from saying he wasn't qualified to the fact that all of a sudden now he's qualified and he's more qualified to be president than a man, a U.S. senator that has been a senator for decades, a man that was a Vietnam War POW that had been held by the Vietnamese for I think about 5 years or so forth, tortured and things. He had all these credentials that essentially showed that he has been tried and tested in the most difficult of circumstances, and you're going to say that somebody that's never held a political office up until such time as Barack Obama was a senator and hadn't been senator for about maybe 3 or 4 years, and all of a sudden Barack Obama is more capable of running the nation than John McCain? Please, no. What happened is, I believe, in fact, I have some contacts in Washington, and they tell me that's essentially what happened. The Democrats looked at the fact that they didn't care. In fact, Hillary was Bill Clinton, and the Democrats told her, "Look, we can take control, complete control of Washington if Barack Obama is our nominee for president. We'll have all the black community behind him. They'll come out in droves and things to vote this man in office. And since he's a Democrat, and they're more than likely going to vote Democrat anyway, we can get control of the House and the Senate and have a man in the White House. Whereas if Hillary runs, we're going to lose everything." So the Democrats say, "Well, yeah, that is a good idea. If he gets elected, then the rest of the Democrats, whoever is on the ticket, on the Democratic ticket, uh, can be swept in the office, ride in on his coattails, and see, while he is president, we can still get him to do what we want him to do, and get agendas and things passed that we want him to pass, we want to get passed, whereas we know we couldn't do it if John McCain was president. We have complete control of everything." So the thing, the fix was in to get him elected. And then for his running mate, guess who got appointed? None other than Joe Biden, one of his quote unquote trainers. So what you have really, when you're looking at President Obama, and President Obama is saying, "I'm saying this is what we're going to do, and that's what we're going to do," essentially what is happening behind the scenes is that President Obama has to get the okay from Joe Biden or Harry Reid or Dick Durbin, or the Democratic hierarchy, that basically he is still sitting under that train, and of course Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, as to the decisions that he's making. Now, I know some of you might be saying that sounds like a bunch of hogwash. Well, I want you to think about this for a minute. The health care bill. No president has ever been able to get a Congress or something like that to pass, or get a health care overhaul and things passed, a national health care. Bill Clinton tried it when he was president, and he had his wife Hillary Clinton leading a secret group of people working on this thing, and everybody got to complaining about the fact, why is all this stuff so secretive, that Hillary Clinton, nobody even knew who the members of the panel were that were working on this thing. So the Democrats had to shelve it. But now that they've got a black president, they figure they can get it done now, because of the fact that they now have control of Washington. They have control of the House. They have control of the Senate. They have what's known as a supermajority in the Senate. A supermajority in the Senate is a majority where when a certain number of people voting for a certain bill or back a certain bill, if that number is 60 or more, then there cannot be a filibuster to stop debate or on whatever issue it is that's before the U.S. Senate. Well, they got that. The problem is, though, when they got it, a couple of the Democrats that were senators didn't like the bill either, and they sided with the uh, Republicans, which meant then that the Democrats fell short. That's when they came up with this scheme of doing some sort of maneuvering or something like that to get the bill passed, even though constitutionally they were essentially bypassing the Constitution to get the bill passed. All along, President Obama has not didn't say a word about it other than the fact he wanted the bill passed, and he was directing. Now you imagine this: a junior senator is directing senior senators to pass a bill. Give me a break. If you think that President Obama was directing that, I got a bridge that I want to sell you. Then, if that's not enough, we recently had this situation where President Obama made the uh, proclamation about a jobs bill, to deal with the job losses, jobs and things, to get people back to work. He came out because people were complaining about the fact he was busy taking vacations and doing this, that, and the other, playing golf and things, carrying on. The nation is in crisis. So Barack Obama gets up and says, I've got a job, I'm going to present a jobs bill, and I want the Congress, the do nothing Congress, which was headed by the Republicans, because see, in the first 2 years when Barack Obama took office, when the Congress was run by the Democrats back then, they couldn't get anything done because a lot of Democrats didn't even go along with it, with what was being done. And so as a result of that, uh, several things happened. Number one, if you remember, Joe Lieberman used to be a senator for the in the Democratic Party until he sided with the Republicans on certain issues, and the Democrats had to get rid of him, so they ran supported another candidate to cause Joe Biden to essentially have to run as an independent, because uh, this other candidate got the Democratic nomination for senator in Joe Lieberman's state, the state that Joe Lieberman is from. But Joe Lieberman ran as an independent, and the people came out and voted Joe Lieberman in over what the Democrats wanted. So they were. That's why they actually lost control of the U.S. Senate after 2 years, and so they no longer had a super majority. They had 59 or 58 senators, because during the midterm elections, they lost control of the Senate from the supermajority to just a plain majority, because the Republicans got elected, one of which was the one that took the seat of the late Edward Kennedy. So that threw everything off. So anyway, President Obama comes up and says he's going to present a jobs bill, and he doesn't want Congress hemming and hawing about passing the job bill. There ain't no debate. We need jobs and this, that, and the other. I'm going to present a job bill. I've got it written up and things, and I'm going to present it. And I want the Congress to uh, no debate on it, no hemming and hawing about this, that, and the other. I want them to pass the bill. Now, y'all remember that, right? Okay. Here's the thing: when presidents come up with some sort of legislation that they want passed, they give it, according to the Constitution, it has to go to the Congress first. What did President Obama do with this quote unquote jobs bill? He did not present it to the Congress, he presented it to, guess who? Harry Reid and Dick Durbin in the U.S. Senate first, out of order. And naturally, Harry Reid, Dick Durbin, and the rest of the bunch in the U.S. Senate kept the bill there for about 2 or 3 weeks. Now, why did he give it to them first? He gave it to them so that they could look at it and add stuff on to it because of one thing. They wanted to set up a circumstance where the Republicans would be blamed for tying the bill up and things like that, so that when this election in 2012 comes around, people are going to be so angry at the Republicans that they're going to vote Democrats and everything back in office again to have complete control again, and also keep President Obama in so that they can have the complete control of Washington again. So Harry Reid and them got together and added a lot of stuff on to the bill that President Obama was supposed to be given to the U.S. Congress. Now, I want you to think about this. If President Obama had presented the bill to the U.S. Congress first, as if that is, if he actually had a bill, because you notice John Boehner always was telling President Obama to put something on the table, come over and be part of the negotiation things. President Obama wasn't doing it. Why? He wasn't intending on doing it because he didn't know how to do it, because he was inexperienced. The ones that know how to do that were the Joe Bidens, the Harry Reids, the Dick Durbins, and the like. So the whole scheme was to set up the Republicans to get the American public so riled up at the Republicans for refusing to do anything about jobs, putting people back to work. President Obama had already said a few weeks earlier, that he was going to present the jobs bill. And see, everybody thought that the Congress had the jobs bill. They did not have the jobs bill. The U.S. Senate, Harry Reid and them had the jobs bill, and they started adding stuff to the bill. And then uh, it was presented to the Congress. Well, naturally, when the Congress got it and they saw all of this other stuff that Harry Reid and them had added to the bill, they said, "No, we ain't gonna pass this." Because if you remember, shortly after that, President Obama said, "Oh well, they can't make a decision on the bill. Well, we're going to split it up." Now, let me ask you a question. If it was a jobs bill and the jobs bill only, why did President Obama say they were going to split the bill up? I mean, a jobs bill is a jobs bill, right? But President Obama said we're going to split the bill up. Well, why would you need to split the bill up unless there was something in the bill other than jobs? Are you understanding what I'm saying? So, like I'm saying, President Obama is the president to the American public. He is the president. He was the one that was elected. But behind the scenes in Washington, President Obama is nothing more than somebody that's being manipulated by the likes of Harry Reid, Dick Durbin, and of course Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and the like. You wonder why Hillary Clinton don't want to run, or say she's not interested, even though people trying to get her to run? Because it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the conspiracy, if you want to look at it like that. President Obama is marching to the drum of the hierarchy of the Democratic Party. He is a puppet, if you will, or a Manchurian candidate that's set out in front of us. And black folks think, yeah, we got our first black president, and he's doing this and he's doing that. He ain't doing jack. That is Harry Reid, Dick Durbin, and them. And all this other stuff going against the church, this thing about the contraception and things, all of this stuff that the Democrats were failed to do under, when they had Bill Clinton in there, they are trying to get it done through Barack Obama. Plus, they have the extra incentive that if you a Republican and you say something against Barack Obama, then black folks are going to take that as you being racist. I have always said this, and there's a book that I have out called Had, Hoodwinked, and Bamboozled: How Willie Lynch is Running Wild in the Democratic Party. And he's got the black community just where he wants them. The mere fact that we have a black president is something Democrats really can't stand. And if it wasn't for the fact that they could use him to get legislation and things passed that they have failed to get passed for 50 or 100 years or so forth, they see the opportunity to do that, and it's worth it for them to allow a black man to to be in the office so that they can get done all of the stuff that they want to get done, that they know they cannot get done any other way. And the black community is aiding and abetting them, because to the black community, the Republicans are nothing but a bunch of racists and everything else. So you see, that's why I'm saying, if you look at the total picture, the Manchurian candidate, the man that was going to be running for president, was being controlled by his mother and other people. Then we got President Obama, who is president, that's actually being run and controlled by people that actually hate black folks, but because they see the greater opportunity to get a lot of stuff done and keep black people in their place, kind of pacify us while they slowly destroy us. Things ain't, for the black community, things have gotten worse rather than better. And then black folks, like here in the city of Detroit, always wondering why Democrats are doing things here in the state of Michigan, why the Democrats in the state don't let black folks like here in Detroit know what's going on, as to certain legislation being passed and everything being under the scene, and we're left out of the loop. You know why we're left out of the loop? Because the Democrats don't give a damn about black folks here in the city of Detroit, and it goes throughout the nation. When Jennifer Granholm was governor, A lot of the problems Detroit is facing now, black folks readily say Jennifer Granholm is the reason why Detroit's in the condition it's in, and a lot of these other black cities in Michigan that are under emergency financial managers, which Jennifer Granholm, a Democrat, sent in. Why is all of this happening? Because the Democrats don't care about black folks, but they'll use us for our vote, and we are too stupid, or rather, you are too stupid to see that. If you're black and you think the Democrats are your friends, ooh, ooh, ooh. But one of these days the truth is going to come to light. You wonder why, I, in the book, had hoodwinked and bamboozled, and I have said this before. Democrats do not want black folks to achieve anything or get ahead in any area. Everything that the Democratic Party does is designed to, first of all, keep black folks under their feet and dependent on under the feet of the Democratic Party, and being dependent on the Democratic Party, keeping y'all on the plantation. They ain't gonna let you off the plantation. And one of the main reasons why they're gonna do that is because they're gonna keep you ignorant. Why? By that I mean you go to their public school systems. They feed you a corrupt uh, history of the black community. It's history the way the Democrats want you to believe history is, and not the real history, because the real history shows the Democratic Party as being the racists. It was founded on racism and slavery, but the Democrats, when you go to public schools, they tell you that the Republicans are the racists and the Republicans are the enemy. And if you don't know any better, if you don't know the history of this party, the Democratic Party, that's what you're going to believe. And you're going to stay locked in on supporting the Democratic Party no matter what they do to you. They can beat you just like he did on the plantation, and the slave was still loyal to massa. They can kill you. You still gonna stay on the plantation. They can take members of your family and sell them off or do whatever it is, and you staying on the plantation, still in love with massa, looking to massa to protect you and so forth. And then now you think because you got a black man in the office of president, and you think he's gonna help you. You wonder why black folks are going around talking about the fact, I wonder how come President Obama ain't doing this, ain't doing that. Cause the Democrats ain't gonna let him do it. He's got to do what they tell him to do. So he's under their control and being used like a puppet on a string. This thing about the Keystone pipeline coming from Canada over here. Democrats don't want that. That's gonna mess up their plans to turn this nation into a socialist nation where everybody's gonna be out of work and having to be dependent on government and the Democratic Party. As if you read the book Had Hoodwinked and Bamboozled, I show you how that uh, the Democratic Party wants this nation to be totally dependent on government, with them, the Democrats, in control. And you all, black and white, and the rest of you, union members, senior citizens, and the like, you all are marching in lockstep behind the Democratic Party and their plan, just like them Nazis and things over there in Germany march around goose stepping and things behind everything Hitler says. That's what the Democratic Party has in mind for this nation, and they're using Barack Obama and controlling Barack Obama to get just that. And you all better wake up before it's too late. This is Evangelist George McTyre of the Word of God Ministry, and I thank you for the time that you've given me. Wake up, people.